Hello guys and welcome to another video. In this video I'm going to show you the ultimate guide to the first round of the GTWS manufacturer season, which is at Spa-Franorchamps in Group 3. Now, as you saw in the intro, I picked Porsche because I wanted to actually be in an FR car, but you need quite a handling sort of manufacturer for the season, and other FR cars are good, are well meta, uh, and I don't really want to use the same cars that most people will use. If you don't know me, I like to try be a bit different. I like variety to be shown on the grids. Yes, Porsche is quite a popular manufacturer, I know, but I don't think many people on the top splits will be picking Porsche. And yeah, I love how the car drives anyway, so I picked Porsche, and I love the sound it makes, and I've got a fantastic livery for it. But anyway, so what I'm going to be showing you in the ultimate guide today is I'm going to be splitting it into three parts. So the first part, as you can see now, sorry, I'm going to be doing a qualifying lap in detail, well, time trial lap, I should say, in detail, uh, just for braking references and that. Obviously, different with the wind and the cars you are in, etc. But this is just to give you a rough idea. Second part, I'm going to be talking with commentary in the background about wet driving. And in the third part, I'm going to be showing the first stint of a dry race, if it was to be a dry race. I'm talking you through my thought processes. Sorry, through my thought processes in the race scenarios. But I'll get more into those two later on in the video. It's going to be about 60-minute video. But now I'm going to show you the quali run in my Porsche with this 5 o'clock wind at 2.4 meters per second. Keep in mind there is conditions in time trial, so the track temperatures are different and the wind can change completely 360. Anyway, first corner, I brake about a car length and a half after 100 boards, so about 85 meters if I was to guess. With the wind going north, I'd probably be braking about 95 meters. That is how much of a difference the wind makes. Because the wind in my lap is slowing me down straight, and since it's slowing me down at this point, I can brake later because the wind will help me slow down the car quicker. So I'm braking a straight line down to first gear. I'm going to be aiming to have my right wheels going on the red and yellow part of the curb, not too much on the green, because I want to have a bit of an angle out just so I can keep the throttle planted and not put too much steering and have too much oversteer, etc. I was looking for about 41 mile an hour on the apex speed here. I will say original, it's easy flat for me, so I'm going to go skip forward to the next braking part, which is right here. I brake literally with this wind. Remember, I've got tailwind now, so I will need to be braking earlier than normal. But if the wind was completely opposite, I'll be able to brake a good car length later, or even 2 car lengths later than usual. So probably more like 70 meters if I was to have a headwind. But now I have to brake around 90 meters. But anyway, I'm braking up, start the curb. Aim to have your right wheels to go onto the inside curb and try to get it on the green part of the curb / astro, whatever it is, without touching the inside board, because that is where the grip is and you can carry more speed. And you'd have to travel as far on the track since you're on the inside. You'd have to put in as much distance on the track. So you see, I initially braked in a straight line. As I started to downshift to second, I started to turn right, of course, into the actual corner, because that is when I timed to turn in and have my right wheels on the inside curb, basically, without touching the bollards. I was aiming to be about 77 mile an hour here from memory. Try to aim by the end of the first part to be about halfway between the left and right side of the track, and you see I tapped the brakes and I lifted a bit and playing around with throttle to stay on 71 mile an hour, keeping my left wheels on this curb because that's again where the grip is. Stay to the left and open up the next corner. 2 ways to this corner. You can either stay on the outside, brake early, go on a throttle late, or as I'm going to show you the way I did on this particular lap at least, I carry on putting the throttle down a bit, and you'll see me lift quite late into the corner, but that will mean one, I can't carry quite as much speed in the corner, and two, have less exit speed because I have to be later on the throttle since I've gone deep in and I'm getting too fast in. But I think it depends on the car, to be honest. It depends on your driving style as well. It depends how you do the first bit as well. Since I'm not fully going to be on the outside curb, that is why I decided to basically try to maximize the entry speed, since I wouldn't have had a good angle to do the corner normally anyway. Try not to touch the inside bollard, of course, because you'll lose tenths. Try not to touch outside the curb on the exits, because you will get dirty tyres for the next corner, and you'll lose probably another 2 tenths if you do that. I was aiming to be about 83 miles an hour from memory for the last corner as well. Next corner, I brake literally at the start of this curb. I'm going to be braking in a straight line towards the inside of a corner, and I'm going to be hugging the inside at about 57, 58 mile an hour range. And yeah, hug the inside because that's where the grip is again. I think it's very slightly cambered as well. I could be wrong there, though. But that's just where the grip is. As I got about 3/4 away on the corner, I go back on the throttle. Try to aim your car to be just off the outside curb, just so you have enough time to open up the next part of the corner. Right here. Just missed a braking reference. I apologise. So, like I said, hug the inside, carry about 57, 50 mile an hour, 3/4 way around, pick up the throttle. Anyway, you see these orange barrier things? So there's 3 of them. This is the first one, but we don't need to worry about the first one. We need to worry about the second and third one. Right here, I brake halfway between the second and the third orange barrier. Try to have your right wheels close to this, like, well, basically, put your right wheels on as much curb as possible to open up the angle of the next corner, especially in MR cars. There is a bump in the next corner in the middle of a track. MR cars suffer a bit more from it, just because of the weight transfer, at least in the game. I don't know if it's realistic or not, I couldn't tell you. And try to aim to have your left wheels as close to the inside bollard again, because that's where the grip is. I was aiming to be about 83, 84 mile an hour for that corner as well. Next corner, since I've got a headwind, I can brake super late. 2 car lengths after 50 is when I broke in this car with this wind. Remember, if you have a tailwind going into this corner, you'd probably have to brake about a car length after the 50 instead of 2 car lengths after. Better to go early on the brakes here than late on the brakes here, because if you go too late on the brakes here, you will just lose so much time on the exit here, and you are planning to do pure 1 flat for the second bit. So you'll see in the first bit, I'll try to have my left wheels on the inside curb. I aim to be about 106 mile an hour, and on the exit of the first part of Pure 1, you'll want to aim for your right wheels to just touch the outside curb, because that is enough for your car to take the next part of Pure 1 completely flat and on the inside as well. If your car was wider than that, you'd just start to understeer and lose time. So 105, 106 mile an hour here, touch the outside curb just, and hug the inside to minimise progress. But let's do an angle so you can carry more speed. Next corner, with this wind, I've got a tailwind, so I brake just under the sign of the Spa sign. As you can see up here, I brake literally just under it. I brake in a straight line, and I hug the inside here as well, because that is where the grip is. And you want to minimise distance, especially on that corner, because it's a long corner. And if you're a bit deep in, it's quite awkward. You have to like carry on lifting, and you're just losing so much time because you're having to lift so much to hug the inside and try to get to the grippy part of the track. But anyway, if you had a headwind, you'd probably brake on the 50 marker. Aim to be about 77 mile an hour from memory here. I'm about halfway between the right and the left as I open up the next part of the corner. Try to have your left wheels as close to the last bollard as possible, because again that's where the grip is, especially on the curb. It helps drag your car around. And I aim to be about 84, 85, 86 mile an hour here. I was a touch right here, so I'll probably lose a tenth doing that because I have very slightly dirty tyres for the next corner. But anyway, next corner, between the start of this grass and the end of the curb, I brake directly halfway with his tailwind. It's better to turn in slightly late for this corner than early and hit in the inside bar, because you need to maximise the exit here, because after this corner you are flat all the way until this chicane here, which is a good 30 seconds of a lap. With the tailwind of that corner, you might have to do a tiny bit depending on the car you're in as well. You don't want to understeer onto the ash road. Anyway, skip forward here a bit. This is easy flat with this wind. With the tailwind, you probably have to use the normal racing line and try not to turn too much. Last corner, because we've got a headwind into this last corner, I can brake 125 meters here, but if I was to have a tailwind here, I'd probably have to brake around 145 meters on this corner. Two ways to do this second last corner. You could either have your left wheels to aim your left wheels to be on this yellow and red curb here, but especially in FL cars, I would recommend doing that. But in my car, since I'm in an ML car, I aim to have my right wheels go over this red curb, but not onto the green part. And have my left, well, basically, my right wheels to be on this red part of the curb here, like that, because that is where the grip is in the ML, without having too much oversteer over the curb. Be about halfway between the left and right hand side, like some other chicanes, like earlier in the lap, for example. So first part I was aiming to be about 46-47 miles an hour. Second part I aimed to be about 43-44 miles an hour. Try to hug the inside curb of the last corner without touching the red part of the curb, because if you touch the red part of the curb, it will unsettle your car. You'll have to do a correction. You'll lose time on your exit because you have to do a correction, and you also have oversteer, so you will lose time doing that. I had a touch of oversteer on the last corner. Be a bit careful on the throttle and your steering input. And that's a lap guide of the quali session of the Spa-Franorchamps. So if this has helped, a like and sub would be appreciated. But now I'm going to show you the wet weather part of this combination. So I hope you enjoyed, and cheers. Alright guys, so I'm going to show you 3 laps of this wet Spa track. So the first lap you'll see is just me doing the normal racing line, and then the 2 laps after it you'll see me do alternative lines in the rain conditions compared to the racing line, and you'll see how much more grip I will have when I'm not using the racing line. I believe the reason for this is because the racing line is rubbered in, and the rubbered racing line in the rain provides less grip, so you'll have less turning speed for one, and since there's less grip, you can't brake as late, you don't have as much traction, and you can't carry as much weight, so you are losing time basically everywhere compared to doing a lap using alternative lines. So as you can see now, I'm going into turn 4, turn 5, whatever it is. You'll see on this lap I'm taking it about 61 miles an hour. You'll see on other laps I'm able to take it about 65 miles an hour, just because I'm not using the racing line. So I would recommend for most of you, if not all of you, before doing the racing slot for this combo, just practice the rain conditions. So you'll see in the time trial session, the rain cannot start, and it's the same for the race partner. So the race and the time trial sessions, no rain can hit the track for the first 10 minutes. I believe they set it up this way because you only have about a minute after the quali session to look at the weather and decide what tyres and that you want to start on. And since they have reused this before for a year or two, and this is when players didn't really go to warm up to check the weather, and I don't believe the weather radar before the start of the race was always a thing. I believe the first year or so you didn't have a weather radar showing you what happened to the weather and what's going to happen in the future. So that's probably the reason why it can't rate for 15 minutes. Okay. But anyway, we're coming to the end of the first lap. As you can see, I am fighting with so much oversteer, especially on the exits. In fact, I'm having to oversee it under braking as well. As you can see here, I'm moving left and right, just to try to keep it in a straight line. But anyway, end of first lap. You'll see this is going to be about a 2:36.3 or something from memory. Yeah, 2:36.3. Next 2 laps is faster than that, and I had penalties on both my laps, just to let you know. But as you can see right now, I'm braking a car length outside the racing line. The reason I'm doing that is because I'm not on a rubber line, so I can brake later, and I can go on the throttle earlier. So I am gaining time basically everywhere. As you can see right now, I am 4 tenths ahead of the last lap. Oh wait, that's just one corner. This corner, you see, I stay to the left of Eau Rouge more to open up the radial bit of the fast chicane uphill. Just so I can carry a lot more speed going uphill, since I initially was off the racing line, so I can carry more speed at that point. And since I'm going faster, I'm staying away from the inside curve more. So I'm getting off the racing line earlier, which is why I can carry more speed and get away with it without too much oversteering that. I lost time there. I do need to practice my lane driving, to be honest. I have not driven in a lane in a good while, especially competitively. So I will do that before the race spots. But this is just to give you a rough idea of why you don't touch the racing line. However, I will say in the race, if the rate is on grade 2 or below, so light blue or below, so as you can see right now I am in grade 3 rather, the dark blue. Outside of the dark blue you can just see the light blue, the fast 2 blue. As you can see I just went wide and I got a penalty and I lost time there. But I'm still over a second up on the last lap. That's just to show you how much more grip there is available when you're not using the racing line. And this is my first lap doing this, so there's definitely time in it. Because I need to get used to it. It'll take me time to get used to it. It'll take time for everyone to get used to it, just because we don't tend to drive in these sort of conditions very well. But anyway, like I said, I reckon for grade 2, grade 1 rain, the weather, the moisture bar thing on the left, so next to the tyres, it probably won't go above the second line to the blue. That is when I would be using intermediate tyres. Because one, the leader will probably be drying the track out very slightly for the cars behind. So, for example, if you're on a train with like 7 cars, the leader will probably have more of a wet track compared to a guy in 7th. He will have a dry track because they will have 6 cars drying the track very slightly for them, right in front of them, because they're getting rid of the moisture on the track. So they'll be able to carry very slightly more speed, braking, etc. So you will have to be careful and take into account whereabouts you think the leaders will be braking, because they might have a slightly wetter track compared to you. I will say the reason I went very wide on the last corner, the third lap, is just to keep the delta for my second lap, just so I can further prove how much more grip and time you gain by not using this. As you can see, I got 1 second penalty because I stayed too far to the left. First part of Eau Rouge, I was just off the track, which is why I got a second penalty. But I still improved from this off, even with the 1 second penalty. So anyway, that is my input on the wet driving. As you see, I'm on a racing line. I had so much oversteer there. So this is why you avoid the racing line. I would practice it in the lobby or in the time trial session, probably in the lobby, because you'll only get it in the race, I believe. I'm like 95% sure. You can't get this in qualifying. It'll be static conditions in qualifying, probably with the same wind throughout it as well, between one slot and another. But that is an educated guess. I don't know that for sure, but it's just from when we had this last year. I believe we only had the same temperature and the same condition for all the time slots we had, which I believe I did at least 2 off. But anyway, coming to the end of this second sector of this third lap I'm showing, I am 1.7 seconds ahead of my racing line lap, because there's just so much more grip. So I hope this has helped. My recommendations is just try to stay a car length off the racing line in the braking zones, in the corner itself, and in the actual corner. Some corners you will have to brake on the racing line just because of the way the corner is. So for example, the hairpin in S2, I had to brake on the racing line just because if I brake on the inside, then yeah, it'd be a long day. I wouldn't be able to carry speed. But anyway, I hope this has helped, and I'll show you a race run now. So thank you, hope this has helped, and I'll cut to the last part now. Cheers guys. Hello guys, so now I'm going to be showing the first 11 laps of this race, just because this race wasn't interesting. I don't want to make a video too long. I believe this video is already going to be well over an hour, so probably about an hour 5 minutes. But anyway, so I'm going to show you, I'm going to talk to you about well first of all I'm going to talk to you about the race settings, and then I'm going to be talking through my thought process and what I'm looking out for. So this race, at least in the GT1 league, I don't know if it's different for GT2 and GT3, but I'm in GT1 league. I'm a controller player, if you didn't know. I picked Porsche, so I know with my car in the Porsche, and I know with Lewis's car in the BMW, our cars are not good on fuel, so we'll probably have to play our races slightly differently compared to some other cars. For example, Nissan and Lexus, which are, and the Super Elementary as well. Those are probably the fifth, and McLaren actually. All those 4 cars are very good on fuel. The tyre wear, it matters a bit, but not too much. I'll talk to you about that in a minute. But anyway, I'll talk to you first about the race settings. So, as you can see, we are on Spa-Franorchamps, sorry. I'm bad with pronunciation, I apologise. This is the normal layout, so not the 24-hour layout with a crazy long pit lane and and you don't start like after the first hairpin. This is just the normal layout, so we start at the neutral finishing line, and the pit lane is like 20 seconds from memory, instead of like 50 seconds, something ridiculous with the other layout. So, 20 laps of Group 3 at Spa, manufacturers of course, whatever car you picked, you are with that car, brand at least, for the 6 races that you do, if you were to do 6 races, but you are stuck with that car for this season. So for example, if you picked BMW is a very good example of this. So if you picked BMW, you'll probably see M6 used for 2 tracks, and you'll see the Z4 used for 2 other tracks, because those 2 cars have completely different car characteristics. So for example, the M6, like you see right now with Lewis, that car has one of the best handlings, especially in high-speed corners. So you'll see that in more handling tracks. So for example, Spa, yes, you need straight line speed, but you also need a lot of cornering speed. I'd argue you need more cornering speed than straight line speed, at least in some circumstances. So like, some power cars will struggle here just because they are not having to get through the lap quick enough to overcome the lack of handling, like the straights on and the full, and to get back to top. But anyway, basically M6 is good here because it's got good straight line speed, or acceleration at least, and it's got very good handling. As you see Lewis have a look down the inside, he wanted it to try leading, I believe, just to try do his own race, but I wanted to lead for a bit because I also want to have a rough idea of what I want to do if I was to be leading somehow, because I will probably be in top split against some of the best drivers in the game, and I'm not in the most competitive car, at least for this round. But anyway, as you can see with the fuel, actually I still haven't mentioned this, I apologise. So for fuel consumption it's ×2, and the tyre wear I believe is ×3. We are on racing medium tyres, so racing mediums are quite durable on this game, especially compared to real life. I feel, I could be wrong about that, in which case I apologise, but I just feel like the racing mediums and the racing cars last slightly longer than they would in real life. However, the softs they just wear off so quickly in this game. Like ×3 tyres on softs on this combo you'd probably struggle doing 10 laps without tyre saving, especially. You would struggle doing 10 laps sometimes. But anyway, close to 3 tyres, so you'll notice, I don't in this particular race, but I won't be tyre saving too much, because I just want to see what the tyres are like. This is my one of the race practice for the race I do on Wednesday. So I just want to see like how much tyre wear I have with a stint before pushing. As Lewis looks down the inside, he makes a good dive down the inside. I hang it just on the outside, and since I'm just about ahead going into last corner, I've stayed ahead. It's very good race with Lewis, but that helps him because my car is insane at the last corner and in turn 1. But because he dived on the inside of the last chicane, I couldn't do the last corner how I'd like, and he could stay close to me, which is why we'll say right now he's about 4 tenths behind me coming up hairpin, which is more than close enough to at least threaten me going into the next braking point. But anyway, what was I saying? Oh, the tyres. So this thing I was just planning to push just to see what my tyres were like and give me a rough idea of what the tyres looks like at the end of this thing. But as you can see right now, Lewis is going to be looking down the inside. Here we are, literally side by side going into it. He's slightly ahead, but because my car has insane brakes, I'm able to hang it on the outside. My car probably has the best brakes in the whole Gr3 class. It has insane brakes. The M6 has good brakes. I can still outbrake it no problem because my car's just got 5 brakes. But anyway, I'm still ahead. I've got clean air. I can dictate the noise. As you saw, like at the start of lap 2 and that, you would see my fuel marker. I had about 14 laps of fuel, so you'll see I will have to refuel in the pit at some point. Now, depending on the car you pick, so I'll give some examples here. So McLaren, maybe not McLaren actually, but Lexus, GTR, Super especially. I would maybe recommend, especially if the race has rain in it, I would probably recommend if you can, especially if you're not leading. Actually no, even if you are leading and you can't break away, I would recommend to try maybe okay, sorry, let me rephrase it. So for example, let's say you're in Lewis's position right now. In fact, I know what Lewis was doing because we're on a voice transfer while I was doing this race. His mindset is, okay, he couldn't overtake me for lap 2 laps we just did, so I think he goes for it one more lap, but you'll start seeing just stay close to me throughout the whole thing, because what he's thinking is he knows that my car and his car, both our cars are bad on fuel. So what he's having to do is he's just gonna not waste race time and not waste either of our time and get caught up in the battle. So what he's gonna do is instead he's gonna just stay right close to me and he's just gonna short shift a bit. So especially you'll see after a region map, you'll see he will start to gain less on me because he's going to be short shifted into 6th gear, because you're going to save more fuel short shifted into 6th than any other gear, because you're going to be spending more time in 5th gear compared to like 2nd gear, where because you're going so slow you have more torque in general, so you get up to speed quicker. As you can see right now, I'm staying in 5th gear. I even upshifted to 6th a bit early because I already noticed he started to fuel safe behind me, so I wanted to try fuel safe a tiny bit back so I wouldn't lose too much time in the pits. But as I was saying, if you're in a car like a Supra, if you can't find a way to get past someone, I would recommend just fuel safing behind them and not refueling the pits, because as soon as you, it's literally, and I'm not even exaggerating here, if you, for example, only want to refuel the pits by 1%, it'll cost you 2 seconds to do that, because the refuel has its own pit animation, and that takes 2 seconds of time. So, especially if your race has weather, since you're going to be using less fuel in the rain, because, well, you're not going to be on the throttle as much, because one, you're going to brake earlier, and 2, you'll have to be more patient on the throttle. You can't just immediately be 100% throttle, at least in some cars. In my car, I probably could get a really good 100% throttle on those corners, because my car's got good traction. It's got a lot of weight in the rear, so I have more rear grip, so I have more traction. But anyway, finally, I apologise, let me just get to the point I wanted to say. So, Supra, McLaren maybe, Lexus, GTR. Both cars have good fuel consumptions. Base fuel consumption, I'd say base fuel consumption is when you are just pushing in general. Both cars just have good fuel rate. They don't use as much fuel compared to the Porsche and the M6, and our cars can't save fuel that much either. But anyway, they have good base fuel, so like I said, if your car is tip leader, I recommend to fuel save behind them if you can't get past them, because if you can fuel save enough where you don't have to refuel in the pits, amazing. You'll gain 2, 3, 4 seconds in the pits just because you don't have to refuel. And that makes a huge difference, of course. But keep in mind, when you see the diamond thing in the pits, suggesting you how much fuel you need to get to the end of the race, that is how much fuel you need to get to the end of the race. How do I phrase it? That is how much fuel you need with the way you have driven the first stint. So for example, if I was doing 50% short shifting, I had 50% of fuel going into lap 10, I pitted, I had 50% fuel left, and there was still 50% more fuel coming into the car, or 50% of the race to go. I would have to still do 50% shifts to make it to the end with like no fuel left, so I've used all the fuel available. But if you went in pits doing 50% shifts and you went back out and you started to fully shift, you probably run out of fuel with at least half a lap to go, because you were driving more aggressively than what you were doing first. So of course you will be using more fuel. But anyway, that's what I recommend when you can't get past the leader, or you are leading and you can't break away. Then I'll just recommend fuel saving. Try to get more of a gap after the pit stop, so you can do your own race and they can't stay in your section just gaining free time. Yes, at least in mine Lewis's race, because we can't use custom circuits, so that's not an option in lobbies. We've only got wheels weak and strong. But I feel weak is way too powerful and strong is even more powerful. Like, you just can't do that in a Francis race. It's just unrealistic. At least with real, yes, he's going to have a bit of dirty air, but he's also going to have a bit of sound straight. It's probably about even with clean air. Maybe you'll have slight versatile legs, you have dirty air, and you have to turn in more, and you're in comfort. But anyway, that is as close as we can get to the actual race settings. In the race settings, I believe it's custom slip, so the switching strength Lewis will have with my slip, for my car, will probably not be too far off what the custom slipstream will be in the actual race. Maybe very slightly more powerful custom slip is down the straight, but there's also zero dirty air, so you can just easily fuel safe behind them and just chill, look after your tyres, etc. You can just easily chill behind the leader and just try and minimise the time to stay in pits. So times 2 fuel, like I said, times 3 tyres. Like I said in the rain footage, the rain can't hit for the first 10 minutes of the race, so you're going to have at least 4 laps. First 4 laps are going to be completely dry, so there is no point starting on intermediate tyres or wet tyres, even if the rain is about to come. No point starting on them, because by the time the rain comes, your tyres will be dead. You'll have also lost too much time compared to the leaders. And even if you were somehow to get ahead of some people that had to pit to change to the intermediates and that, you would have burnt the tyres and you'd be second slower in the race. So don't bother starting on any tyres other than the slick crazy ones. I will say though, 5th lap onwards is when it gets interesting. 5th lap onwards is quite random. Well, it's not random. So most of the time the rain will start hitting on the 10th minute on the dot. So that's going to happen. In some scenarios, it will be interesting if you have to pit in at the end of lap 4 or lap 5. Because, for example, if the 10-minute marker hits and the first part of rain that comes is on the south west of the track, so the first corner of S3, if that's where the rain starts to hit and it's dark blue, by the time we're on the 10th minute marker, we'll probably be about P1 area. By the time we get to the last sector, the track will already be wet enough where we'll have to be very careful, and we might even aquaplane off towards the last chicane and we'll lose seconds. So, especially lower lobbies and slow lobbies, and you're towards the back of the field, it might be worth a punt pitting at the end of lap 4. Yes, you'll be slow in the first 2 sectors of lap 5, but if the last sector is flooded, you'll gain seconds and even tens of seconds in the last sector before they have to pit, and you'll have to undercut them because they just wouldn't be able to take the last sector anywhere near as quickly compared to you. They'll either be spinning off or having to drive snail's pace just to keep it on the track itself. So, that is my recommendation. So, what I'm going to be doing and what I'm planning to do is first, first 4 laps completely normal. If I see that the rain is going to come, I'm just going to be fully pushing, maybe doing a bit of fuel saving behind cars if I don't want to lose too much time battling if I can't ever take a straight line. I just don't want to waste. I wouldn't want to waste time to let A, people behind me catch up, and B, I'm probably more important than in my scenario. I would not want to lose the people in front of me. I would want to keep an eye on them, see what they're doing differently to me, and see if I can do anything to somehow overtake them, either through the pits or on the track. But anyway, that is the weather. So I would recommend if the rain was to hit 10 minutes in and it was to go over the first bar of the line, that is wet enough to pit, I would probably put on the end of lap 5. But of course it depends on what the weather is doing in the race. It's going to be different to everyone. In my lobby, I'm probably going to be split 1, I might be split 2, I'm not sure yet. I'm about 85-86 kdr from memory, which could be enough to top split, and especially since there's been GT World Series series that happened over the last weekend. There's some people probably not going to race this first race because they'll be tired, they'll be jet lagged, etc. So I'm probably going to be top split. My top split race could have weather, and the second split race might not have weather. So they'll just be doing a dry race like I'm doing / showing right now. So it totally depends on your weather settings. So that is the weather, guys. Actually, one more thing on that. Some scenarios, it might be wet enough where it infers off faster, but it might not be that wet for long enough where you will want to survive on slick tyres, because in that way you won't have to pit twice. It's mandatory pit stops, so you have to pit anyway, but the tyres wouldn't make 20 laps anyway, so you have to pit either way. Maybe except McLaren, but I'm not in McLaren, so I can't really say. So in that case, if the track was to go wet but not wet for too long, I'd suggest maybe, depending on how long it gets across, I'd maybe recommend just to stay out on the slicks. Yes, you might lose over 20 seconds, you might lose 10-15 seconds on the track compared to the inter runners, but since the pit lane is longer than 15 seconds, you would have still gained time on them even though they run on intermediate tyres. I would also maybe recommend pitting for another set of slicks. If this scenario was to come up, I'd probably pit for another set of slicks as the heaviest part of the rain hit, just so you don't have to drive on the wettest part of the track for as long compared to if you were to stay on, so you wouldn't be losing as much time on those slicks, if you understand what I'm trying to say. That is what I would recommend for this wet part of the race. But I'm going to describe to you what I'd also do in a dry race, like I did sort of at the start of this race section of the video. So, if I'm on pole, I am planning to... Okay, never mind. Let me scrap that, and let me restart. My race plan, at least in my car, and what I'm planning to do is... I'm going to be pushing, but I'm not going to be pushing, if you understand me. I'm going to be pushing like 90%, 95%. I'm going to talk to you about each corner. So turn 1, I'm going to be fully pushing it, doing quality lap this year. As you can see, Boris, we're doing a Lewis pitted just because he wanted clean air, he wanted to focus clean air. You'll see I stay out a couple laps because I planned to be within Lewis's slipstream just to test out what the dirty air could be like. Just to give me a rough idea, just in case there was a bit of dirty air with the custom slip. But anyway, I was never close enough to him, so I waited back about that. He undercuts me. and I'll get into that at the end of that time. But anyway, so turn 1 I'm going to be pushing normally through a region that, even so it should be easy for at least in my car. Maybe in some cars, like for example F-Type maybe, for GT18, for Dodge Viper, you might, in section you might have to do a small lift in their route, just to make sure that you don't go too wide on the exit and pick up a penalty. But after that, turn 5, wait, 2, 3, 4, yeah, turn 5, I'd probably take it normally, turn 6 normally, turn 7, I might do it a tiny bit less steering for that corner, just to not kill my front left too much. Hairpin, I'll probably trail brake a bit earlier, so I'm not holding on the brakes for so long and not putting too much stress into my front left tyre there. I'd probably not be putting as much steering angle on the exit either, just to not, you know, put too much load into my front left tyre on the exits. The left corner after that, I'll probably be doing it normal. P1 I'll be tyre saving, so probably half the steering as I will do in a quali lap for example, just to try not overheat my front right tyres and then start to fall for collision because I've been pushing too hard on the right tyres. But see me probably tyre saving that corner, P1. And then the right, the first part of the chicanes slash S's, after P1 I'll probably tyre save a bit on the first bit, and that I'll definitely be tyre saving on the left part of the S as well after the P1 corner, just to again not put too much load into my front right tyre. And then the last corner of S2, probably the way it'd be tyre saving there. First corner of S3, especially in searching, I might lift and put a bit less steering in, just to again not put too much stress into my front left tyre there and not overheat. And then the last chicane I'll be doing that normally. And then that's basically it for the dry part of the race. So, quick recap before I show the last laps. This is my second last lap I'm going to show. So I'll do a full recap. So for quali section, obviously it depends on your car, but just take my references with a grain of salt because my car's probably got the best brakes, it's got decent acceleration, doesn't have the best top speed. And it's got very good traction, so take it with a grain of salt. But this is just rough references on what I'm doing and what I'm looking out for, and of course talking about the wind as well, which can make a dramatic difference in the brake, etc. Wet part of the section, I'd recommend practicing, even if it's 5-10 laps. I'd personally, like I've shown in this video, I would practice doing a lap or two, just using the normal racing line, and then once you've done those 2-3 laps, however many you are wanting to do, just, I wouldn't do it, but it's just to give you a rough idea of what grip differences you will feel between using a racing line and not using a racing line. So I'd be doing 2-3 laps, just using a racing line. After 2 laps where you are quite comfortable with the braking zones using a racing line there, you can then experiment going off lines, off the racing lines, try play around with the braking points and the throttle points, and you'll be able to tell how much later you can go on the brakes and how much earlier you can go 100% throttle, and you'll see with your time delta. As you can see with my time deltas in the rain, I waited the first 10 minutes just so I could give you guys the delta screen, because if I was to do the dry laps and then pit and then go to the wet, you won't be able to see the delta and see where I'm gaining the racing time in the rain using those alternative lines. You gain so much time when you're going on the racing. Seconds, 2-3 seconds, no problem. So I would recommend doing a couple laps, going the racing line. After that, go like half length off the racing line in the braking zones and exits and in the corners if you can. Some corners you'll have to brake on the racing line just to keep the angle for the actual corner. It's not worth sacrificing the braking for, you know, the corner itself. So now, as you can see, I'm in the pits at 37% of fuel, 5.8 laps. That is nowhere near enough fuel to get to the end, even with a bunch of short signals too much time. So that is why I would recommend to fuel safe behind cars, because if for example, if I was behind Lewis, I could have 40, maybe even 45% of fuel if I was to fuel safe very well behind Lewis. and that would save me up to 2-3 seconds in the pits, which could be 3, 4, 5 cars difference. That could be a huge difference. But anyway, we're in the last minute or two now of this video, so what I want to say is, first of all, thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. So if you can and if you want, a like and a sub would be appreciated. If you've got any questions about the wet part of the race, the dry part of the race, quali laps, etc., the wins, put a comment in the comment section below. I will answer to the best of my ability possible. I will answer, I promise. I always answer comments, just as a way of me saying thanks for watching. It's only right that I answer your comments and try to help everyone out if possible. Well, anything else to say? I don't think so. Well, I hope you enjoy. I hope you find it helpful. Like I said already, I don't want to go on too much about it because you're just here to watch and enjoy. At the end of the day, I don't want to force you to do anything. I picked Porsche because I love that car, and I wish you guys good luck in this race. I will probably be doing this for the Road Atlanta round and the Red Bull Ring round as well, because those races I will be finding interesting. I'll be definitely doing. So I hope you enjoyed, guys. And yeah, I hope this has helped, and I wish you guys good luck in the races, like I said already. So cheers, guys, and goodbye.